Schönen guten Abend, sehr geehrte Damen und Herren. Mein Name ist Johannes Vogel. Ich habe hier die große Ehre und das Vergnügen, Generaldirektor zu sein, und ich möchte Sie ganz herzlich zu dieser tollen Serie Wissenschaft im Sauriersaal, die wir zusammen mit der Humboldt-Universität und gefördert durch die Scherung-Stiftung hier durchführen können. Wir sind ganz begeistert von dem großen Erfolg, denn die Serie ist mehr oder weniger ausgebucht bis Dezember. Es gibt wohl nur noch für September, Oktober und November wenige Tickets. Also wenn Sie heute Abend beseelt nach Hause eilen, melden Sie sich schnell an, sonst sind die Tickets weg. Toll, dass Sie hier sind und mit uns Geburtstag feiern wollen. Denn heute hat der Mann Geburtstag, der für dieses Haus verantwortlich ist. Wir sind nämlich das Leibniz-Institut für Biodiversitäts- und Evolutionsforschung. Und wer könnte besser herzlichen Glückwunsch sagen als seine Ururenkelin Sarah Darwin.
Good evening. Today is Charles Darwin's 207th birthday. Now, why do we celebrate Darwin? Well, his book on the origin of species was voted recently as one of the most influential academic books ever written. And it's almost also enormously readable. And how wonderful to be in Berlin to celebrate Darwin's birthday, the birthplace of Alexander von Humboldt. Now, without Humboldt, Darwin certainly would not have written on the origin of species. Humboldt gave Darwin courage to travel around the world. He gave him a source of inspiration, and he gave him a language in which to express himself in his writing. When Darwin arrived in the Brazilian rainforest, he had an epiphany moment. And he wrote to his family, "I formerly admired Humboldt. Now I almost adore him." Now, birthdays. What do we usually do at birthdays? Well, we gather together with family and friends, and we often serve food. So I thought I would just touch a little bit on food tonight. Now, like many things in the 207 years since Darwin's birth, food has changed considerably. Darwin was a countryman, and he, like many countrymen, Humboldt and Darwin, would have collected, captured, and hunted their food. Now, of course, we go to Lidl or Rewe for our food. And indeed, the way we eat our food is also changing. Many of us are trying to reduce the amount of meat that we now eat to try and be a bit more environmentally friendly. Darwin's eating habits were somewhat adventurous, and during his time at university in Cambridge, he got together with his friends, and they would sometimes eat some very, very unusual things. And I think their diet reached its peak when they ate 1 week a hawk, and the next week an owl. And on the Beagle, poor Darwin was searching in the pampas for this very rare, quite large, flightless bird. And at dinner one day, they were sitting around the campfire only to discover that this rare bird was actually on their dinner plates. So he quickly jumped up, grabbed everybody's dinner plate, collected feathers and bones, and tried to put together some form of specimen to take back to Europe. So what type of things have we got on our menu today? Well, we start off with Dr. Cave. He's our philosopher, and he will represent the wise owl. Professor Rudolph, an expert in cells, will represent the primordial soup. Dr. Uhl, who will talk about the tree of life, will represent maybe something like an Eintopf, or perhaps one of these wonderful buffets where you see everything and you can eat everything. And Professor Taylor, finishing off our evening before we have a debate, he is our expert in religion and nature, and he will represent our dinner blessing. So I hope you all have a wonderful, interesting, and exciting evening, and happy Darwin Day.